we have these crossroads. And you know, either way you choose, your life is going to be different.
The universe doesn't exist, but God thinks it does.
We have to stop consuming our culture. We have to create culture.
Stupidity has a definite evolutionary function. I am all for abolishing stupidity, but before it goes, we should pay tribute to it.
Hello and welcome to the Nonsense Bazaar. I'm your host, I'm Sequoia Kennedy.
And I'm Willow Truman.
Willow, you know, if there's one thing that's universally true about humans, I think it's that we all have our own unique ways of unhealthily coping with negative emotions.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Some people eat their feelings. Some drink. Some, like your boy, gamble on the stock market.
Yep.
Moon and Gemini in the second house.
You have mentioned before to me that you're like Achilles' heel. You like gambling.
I fucking love gambling.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it either.
Even more dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I don't even care. I don't care. Everything is stupid, and spending too much money to trigger floods of specific neurotransmitters is something we all do.
It's true.
I had written "Don't look at me like that," but you agreed, so.
No, it's you got
it's true.
Things
Yeah, we all got our things.
There are things.
Anyway, I spent most of the first year or two of the pandemic, that thing that, like, the memory of which we're going to collectively repress while we wonder why everyone has gone fucking insane. I spent it on my favorite place on the internet, reddit.com/r/Wallstreetbets.
Oh, yes.
Or at least it was my favorite place on the internet. Mm-hmm. I mean, it
had a big moment in 2020, that's for sure.
Yeah, I fucking hate that big moment.
But that's what we're talking about.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what killed it, man. That destroyed my baby.
Wallstreetbets.
Yeah. But it was the market conditions of the pandemic, unbridled and unrestrained corporate greed, and the knowledge that reality itself was fraying at the seams is synergized too well with Wallstreetbets. Too much of a good thing. Burnout. I mean, dude, no one was ever supposed to know. No one was ever supposed to know. And if you don't know, what is Wall Street? It's a Reddit forum that is... It's a stock trading forum full of the most worst degenerate gamblers you will ever see. Mm-hmm. At least it used to be true degenerate gamblers. Now it's like fucking children and shit.
It's probably a lot of people that have never even used the stock market.
Right. Back in the day, people knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
They were just sick people. Mm-hmm. And nihilist and honest. It got turned into a fucking... we'll get there. But once, dear listener, once there was something beautiful. And I mean that in the same way that, like, a bleached skeleton of a buffalo in a sulfur spring is beautiful. It was pure and perfect and honest.
Oh.
And it was fucking stupid. Truly, truly stupid.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Just like any good subreddit.
Yeah, no, this is particular kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm. Special type of stupid.
A special type of stupid.
Yes.
Now, those of you without, let's say, albatrosses around your fucking necks, if you know about Wallstreetbets, you know about it from the GameStop saga. Yes, that was absurd, and it completely ruined what was once something so rare on the internet. Something honest. But before the GameStop saga and the apes and the critical mass, there was so much more. And that's what we're going to talk about today. An ode to Wallstreetbets.
Wow.
Where fortunes were made and lost, where lives were changed for good or ill, where we all understood that this whole thing is fucked, but it's not doomed. Where the dumbest possible outcome was not only possible, but expected. Where all the fake trappings of respectability that the shitheads on CNBC and all that hide behind was stripped away to show the true coke-fueled, cynical heart of the American dream. Yeah, it works until it doesn't, and the first one's free.
Wow. Beautiful. Just beautiful, Sequoia.
It is, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it also speaks to the nature of Reddit itself, right? Because this takes place on Reddit.
Yes.
And how many people make... anonymous accounts and go to Reddit to seek guidance about just like the most serious shit in their lives. And it's like, whoa, you have nobody else to go to but the internet?
Right.
But so many people do. And that's kind of what Reddit is a receptacle for.
Right.
It's a lot of people, like people that actively use Reddit, I feel usually don't actively use other social media as much. When people use Reddit, it kind of is like their social media of choice. Not always, but often for active Reddit users.
See,
and it has a different feel than other social medias.
Sure. Yeah, I will say, I feel like it's only coincidence that Wallstreetbets was on Reddit.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't be anywhere else. Where else
couldn't be anywhere else, but the very different culture than regular Reddit.
Yes. No, it's so interesting how different subreddits form their own little micro cultures.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that we're looking into this one.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. And I think it also speaks to, there's something larger at work there too, you know?
Right. Like the whole GameStop saga, all of that shit, it wouldn't have happened without this communal effort. Like it was very much a community activity, people collaborating and interacting with one another.
Okay, that was Reddit.
Yeah.
That's when Reddit killed Wallstreetbets. Mm-hmm. I think is what happened. Because like everything you just talked about, like people going
it reached
somewhere,
critical mass.
Right?
There's too many people.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a point where the shit goes overboard. There's just too many people. The soup, it has too many ingredients in it. Don't taste good anymore.
The fucking high school kids showed up at the party, and now you got to lock shit down because the cops are coming, and it's all fucked up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But okay, beyond social dynamics, there's also the money. The money, and there is
money.
I've said this a few times.
Money.
There's a level of comedy in the financial world that is utterly unmatched in any other domain. I swear to God. And I think it comes from two things. First is actual stakes, right? And then two, like the inherent hilarity of trying to get rich off a mattress company during a global pandemic.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
It's very fun. Money itself is like fun.
Right.
The idea of it, because it's so abstract.
Yeah.
Like we just assign value to it. And the only reason why it has value is because we all like agree that it does.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the social contract now. It's part of everything now.
Yeah.
But it's so abstract and like it could crumble apart so easily. There's so many loopholes.
Listen, this is my off week, the week to just get something out.
Yep.
You know, quick and easy. I'm working on fucking episode 100 next week and all this shit. Had it not been my off week, we'd be doing a lot of talking about money as an occult system. Money as a magical system, because that is, I'd like to write a thesis on that.
But it's an off week.
It's an off week. We'll get there someday. Today, we're going to look at a few Wallstreetbets heroes or losers, depending on your persuasion. And we're going to look at we're going to see how different is this from the regular market?
Right. Yeah.
We're going to look at that.
Or is this just like a microcosm that reflects
that because it's obscene is easily painted as something other.
Right.
Yeah, I think I just gave away what I'm doing here. Yeah. So before we go any further, let's pull a tarot card and see what it has to say about old Wallstreetbets.
Oh boy.
Yes. Oh, that's fun. That's cute.
We definitely turned that off.
We definitely did.
We definitely did.
We made a point to turn off the fan before we started recording. It just turned itself on.
It sure did.
It doesn't have a sleep function, or is it a clock? Is it supposed to turn on?
No.
Oh, that's real weird.
It is.
We also lost an ice cream drumstick earlier.
We did.
Completely gone.
I opened up a box of 4 ice cream drumsticks. They all fell to the ground. I could only find 3. Me and Sequoia searched the laundry room for this stray drumstick.
Yeah.
Couldn't be found.
It's gone.
This also happened to me with a bag of shrimp in the very same room. Very
hilarious.
And then the bag of shrimp turned up weeks later, leaking all over the ground in the middle of the laundry room. What the fuck? I had done so many loads of laundry since then. That wasn't there. Suspicious.
Very.
Weird shit about.
3 of discs.
Okay. I like this.
Works. It's a card of collaboration.
Yeah.
And effort. Mars and Capricorn, which, that's your boy. That's very wholesome, honestly.
I like this.
I do too.
Teamwork.
It makes the dream work.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
That's fucking great. Okay.
The Trinity.
So, we'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
I was gambling in Havana, guns and money. Dad, get me out of this. Ha! I'm the innocent bystander. Somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. Yes, I'm down on my luck. Well, I'm down on my luck. I'm hiding in Honduras. I'm a desperate man. Send lawyers, guns, and money. This shit has hit the fan.
Dad, get me out of this. So I realized I sort of just assumed that everyone kind of knew what Wallstreetbets is.
Oh, they surely don't.
Wallstreetbets is a forum. It's a stock trading forum, but it is known for degenerate gambling. High risk, high fucking reward, usually no reward. I mean, you've got people blowing their fucking life savings on the dumbest shit
Yep.
you could possibly imagine. It used to be that these guys knew what they were doing.
Yep.
They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing when they did that. It's not good, but it's fine. I mean, man, there is one that we're not going to get to. This dumb bastard. He fucking felt bad for his mom and the condition she was living on, her pension and stuff, and her savings.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
But you know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
Had a brilliant idea to, without her knowing, take that $100,000 she had in the bank, fucking blow it all in a week, gone, zeroed out.
Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck. This financial literacy is so important.
None of that would help this man.
God.
That is sickness, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's really a lack of consideration for the future.
Now, on Wallstreetbets, everyone will tell him, that's the dumbest shit. What the fuck are you doing? There is something wrong with you. Get help.
Oh, but then they'll turn around and do the same thing.
Well, some of them will. The other ones will be like, wow, that's
Yeah.
the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, many of them are very smart and but,
Absolutely.
you know.
It's the internet. There's a mix.
But it's not encouraged to gamble your mother's savings.
God,
Encouraged
no.
to gamble your own money. But Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if you're going to gamble, use your own money, maybe.
But that's also, don't do this shit.
Yeah.
Just don't. Do not do this shit.
I think people justify it because they don't see it as gambling. It's investing.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. Wallstreetbets is very honest. It's fucking gambling.
Well, bets. It's in the name.
Yeah. So, and it's not investing, in fact. See, okay, so there's a few things we got to understand before we go in.
Okay.
First
I'm
is
listening.
options, stock options.
Stock options.
Because this is Wallstreetbets' bread and butter. Fuck stocks. Options, baby. What the fuck is a stock option? It's complicated, and giving you the real definition would only confuse you if you don't know what it is.
So can you connect it at all to the definition of the word option itself?
I can and I will.
Excellent. I think that's probably the easiest way.
Well, the easiest way is to say that options are something called derivatives, meaning they're a contract that is derived from the price of a stock. So you can have options on Apple, right? And what those options do, it's a thing you can buy, and the price of that will be derived from the price of the stock.
Okay. And it's different from a stock. So you can buy stock in something.
Yep.
And you can also
buy options. Yeah.
And they're different.
Yep. So options give you options with the stock, right? So say you have a ticker like Apple, right? Apple has shares and you can buy options on the shares. What they are is a contract to either buy or sell 100 shares of Apple at a specific price. And you choose what price you're looking at and shit if certain conditions are met. It's a contract between two parties. So someone has to write the contract, someone has to buy the contract. The person who buys the contract can then sell that contract to another person, and so on and so on.
Okay, wait.
Well, what are you confused about?
I just need... Okay, so I have stock.
Let me first say you don't need to understand entirely what they are to understand.
No, but I want to
this.
know, like, say, I want you to explain it in terms to me of how I would do it if I was to do it. Like, what that means.
Okay. So say Apple's trading at, just for shits and giggles, $100 a share.
Okay.
Right? You go into the old options tab on Robinhood. Mm-hmm. And if you're like, and Robinhood will help you out. They're like, do you think it's going up or do you think it's going down?
Okay.
And you go, I think it's going up. So then it sends you to buy the call options
Okay.
versus the put options.
So if you call, you think it's going to go up.
Yeah.
If you put, you think it's going to go down.
And those words have something to do with the mechanics of how those derivatives work, how those options actually work in what a broker would have to do back in the day when he had to do shit on the phone. Right?
It makes sense to me. In my head, I come up with the phrases, like you're calling it in, like you're calling the cattle.
That's exactly
in.
what it is.
Like, come to me.
That's exactly
or
what it
you're
is.
putting it down. Putting it on
someone else.
Fucking lame horse down. That is not earning us any money anymore.
You're putting it on someone else.
Putting it down.
Calling it to yourself or putting it...
Call it in, put it down.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Yeah.
A call option allows you to buy 100 shares of a stock at a specific price.
Okay.
Which is called the strike price. So if Apple's at 100, you're like, man, this fucker's going to the moon. It's going to 200. You might buy a call option at 150.
Okay.
And that's your strike price. That'll give you the option to buy 100 shares of Apple at $150 a share at some point in the future. Because you think it's going way higher than that. Right. Or you could buy one at 100. Or you could buy one even lower. Right. Mm-hmm. Put is the same thing, except the opposite. It gives you the right to sell 100 shares of a stock at a specific price.
Okay.
A strike price. And these are used in investing. There's a book, it's called like Options as a Strategic Investing Tool or something like that, or strategy. That's like the book on it. It's used like when you have a bunch of stuff and you're trying to like buy and you basically insure your stock. So if the market crashes, like you get profit, like you set a floor, you can cap your profit, but like make sure you don't lose everything with options. They give you options with your stock, right?
Okay.
But
I'm starting to understand.
Yeah, there are ways that smart people, investing people, can do things to make it more, to just give themselves more options.
I like that you used Apple as an example because that I have Apple stock.
I know, yeah.
And like, I am not.
So like, okay, so say you have a bunch of Apple stock and you're like, man, this whole economy could fucking go to hell, right? Yeah. You could buy a bunch of put options on your shit to just give you the right to like sell at a price that you think it might crash. Like if it goes to fucking $1 a share, you might be holding a bunch of $90 put options.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So that way when you sell it, you're getting it a $90 a share, not $1 a share. Exactly.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. Now, if you don't have those shares, if you're not an investor, you're just some fucking asshole, you can just buy those contracts. Mm-hmm. And because one option represents 100 shares, and they're much cheaper than 100 shares, gives you something called leverage, where you can, you know how a lever works?
Yes.
Use a little bit of force to move something you couldn't otherwise do. Mm-hmm. Leverage and money is the same way.
Yep.
I could never afford 100 shares of Apple and shit, but I could buy an option for, say $100 instead of $10,000. That'll give me the same price, gain and loss. It'll give me exposure to the price movements much greater than what I paid for it.
Okay.
Right.
What does that mean?
So say I pay $100 for one option on Apple, right? Apple goes up fucking $1, right? It goes up 1%. That option, assuming it's, around that price or whatever, that option will go up way more than $1, right? I could end up doubling my money with that. Like I get exposed to, if I spent that money on shares of Apple, bought one share for $100 or so, I'd get $1 in gains, right? If I had an option, I'd get much more than that.
Okay.
Or I could lose much more than that.
Yeah.
That's where derivative comes from. It's derived from the price, but it represents more. Yeah.
All right.
It's where that fucking real occult like alchemy shit comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as you know, in my own personal life, and it's interesting that we did this episode on this day because today in particular, I've been having a lot of discussions and just thinking a lot about financial literacy, like being in the know about money.
This will not get you financially literate. What I'm saying right now will not do that.
But it is a story about money.
Yeah. It's not so much a story as me talking about gambling.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no. And it's also like, there's some financial issues coming up that like Wall Street Bets might get fun again real quick.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens.
And then to talk about like the market,
Yeah.
you know, as a beast,
It's a
as
god,
thing.
dude. It is a god.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And Wallstreetbets is like an utter on the
It's
god,
a dark
like,
cult to that god. It's the fucking cult of Cthulhu, you know?
right.
Yeah. And so options allow you to bet on both up and down. And there's another thing. The nature of options allows you to create complicated groups of options called spreads that will do things like make you profit if the price of a stock stays within a certain range. Shit like that.
Okay.
You can be both the buyer and the seller. And there's different things with all that. Like usually the big boys are the sellers, but like you could do that too if you had the collateral. Now, there's a caveat. You're thinking like, oh, well, why wouldn't I just always buy options? If they, if I know something, the stocks only go up, why wouldn't I, it could go down, but I could just keep holding. Well, there's a little thing. There's a caveat
How
with
long
options.
can you hold?
They expire. Options expire.
Yeah.
And on a certain date, and if you're holding that bag and you weren't right with your bet, that shit expires worthless.
Can you like cancel it?
You could sell it.
Okay.
But, you might have paid $500 for it and you might be...
Okay.
Yeah. And then you might have to sell it for $11.
Right.
$7.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And even if
because people are wrong often.
Yeah, and also options are super complicated. There's not only the time thing, and they also decay in price as it gets closer to the expiration because there's less of a chance of it doing the thing that you paid the premium for, right? Like if you bought a fucking option that you need a 10% increase.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to do this thing in 3 months.
Right.
And then the time gets closer and closer and closer.
There's less of a chance of it going up 10%.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Also, if a stock's moving around a bunch, like it's swinging wildly, options are going to be more expensive on that because it's just doing more shit, right? There's more uncertainty.
Right.
Right? So if a stock's doing a bunch of crazy shit and you buy an option and then that stock stops moving around a bit, the option gets cheaper. You lose money because it is, again, about what someone else is willing to pay for it. Right? So, and that's called implied volatility, and that'll fuck you over too.
Yeah.
Basically, options can make you a lot of money. It's way easier to lose your whole entire ass with stock options.
Yeah.
And
I haven't fucked around with them.
Don't.
Honestly, after hearing you explain all of them and thinking about all the other shit I have going on in my life, I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
No, because you know what? I've had stocks and I have not touched them.
Right.
I've had them for about 10 years. Guess what? Gone way up. Don't touch that shit.
You could go bankrupt in an afternoon.
I could.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yep.
What they will allow you to do.
Absolutely.
You can quite literally ruin your fucking life in an hour on Robinhood. It's a fucking nuts.
And people do.
And they do all the fucking time. Yeah. And it's not easy to trade options either.
And there's no undo button on life.
No, there really isn't. And with options, you have to not only be right about the direction something will move, you have to be right about how much it will move and when. And there's a whole bunch more of goddamn Greek letters besides implied volatility. There's all this shit, theta, delta, gamma, yeah, all you need to know is it's going to fuck you over. And if you have the right type of brain, sure is fun.
Well,
I would say it's the greatest game in the world.
There's something intoxicating about thinking that you can predict the future.
Because you can.
Sometimes.
You can read financial documents. You can do research. You can find out who knows who and who's been researched. Like you can
make predictions.
You can make very educated. I mean, you can fucking nail things.
Yeah.
But yes, this is gambling. Yes, it is. There are sensible ways to use options. Fuck that though. That shit's for nerds. Nerds without Adderall.
Oh, God.
And for a long time, retail traders weren't buying options. Too expensive with the commissions and the inability to stare at a screen all day. If you have to call your broker, or if you have to do it from dial-up internet because it's 1998, you're not buying options that expire in 10 fucking minutes. Robinhood changed all that. The trading app. Commission-free and giving out options to any dumb motherfucker who wants them. Because they will.
Yeah.
You can just go get...
and they'll even give you we'll give you free money. Your first shares are on us. Like, here's $100 to do whatever you want with. Like, right? Don't they do that? Something like that.
They do some shit like that.
Yeah.
But dude, they I don't make enough, or I didn't deposit enough money for TD Ameritrade to want to give me options trading, even though it nailed all the fucking questions. It's not something that brokerages kind of like to do. Robinhood doesn't give a fuck.
Of course not.
They don't give a fuck.
No.
It's
Get anyone
crazy.
in here. Come on in.
Dude.
Give us your bank account information.
This is I don't want to say it's not something that you should be, there should be a happy medium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There should be a little happy medium. Or at least, Rob, just take the fucking balloons and confetti away from the options. And that's actually all I'm asking.
Like, the fact that it's called Robin Hood, too, is just especially evil.
Darkly hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. It's darkly hilarious. Yeah. So this is the shit soup that Wall Street Bets began to thrive in. It existed before, but when Robin Hood gave options to the people, oh boy. Yet this whole thing isn't entirely unprecedented. Mm-hmm. See, back in the day, like turn of the 20th century type deal, there used to be these things called bucket shops. Bucket shops were fun. See, back then you had...
Sounds fun.
Yeah. See, back then you had to buy stocks in lots of 100 shares. Okay. You couldn't just buy one or two, you had to buy blocks.
Yep.
People didn't have that much fucking money. So they went to the bucket shop. The bucket shop was a gambling parlor. They had a ticker tape and a chalkboard, and they'd loan you money to buy that 100 shares. This is a practice called margin lending. Mm-hmm. We'll be bringing that up later. Margin is when a broker lends you money to leverage your shit. Leverage, as we said, means putting more oomph behind it. As long as you're profitable, they don't give a shit. But if you lose, well, say you dropped, going back to the $100 Apple shares, right? So you had to pay $100 for, well, let's just say you had to pay $100 for 100 shares of Apple stock because back then computers didn't exist and they were $1 a share.
Yeah.
You following me?
Yes.
You only got $20, right? So the bucket shop, or Robinhood, loans you the $80 you need, right?
Yeah.
To make it a cool 100. So you put it up at, you're an idiot. So the trade goes bad. And let's say it goes 20% bad.
The loans, man.
Yeah. Now, if it was all your money and you were investing, you could probably you could just hold forever, right? It drops $20. Oh, whatever. I'll just wait to sell. Yeah. Right? Because stocks only go up. On the long-term scale, stocks do only go up. You'd probably be fine. Maybe. However, the broker or bank or whoever's doing the lending isn't going to let your boneheaded ass lose them money. So once that trade goes bad to the point where it's cutting into the $80 they loaned you, they close the position and you're fucked. You're out the $20 you had. That's it. Right? This is gambling again. And these bucket shops were in every fucking city, like multiple of them. Motherfuckers would just go in there and gamble with margin on the stock market. Right? It was just a gambling parlor.
Yeah.
100 years later, we got Robinhood.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Now, on any given day, you might still see some of the dumbest, most smooth-brained maneuvers around. Someone's dumb idea and a whole host in biblical sense of broken people.
Like on Wall Street Bets, you mean?
Yeah. Broken men, mostly, cheering them on. A rundown of the highlights will never, ever give you a real sense of what this place is like. You'll never know you/Tren and Options, who loves two things in life. Tren, the steroid. And being a cuck.
Oh, God.
Like, that's his literal fetish, and he's just in the goddamn daily discussion thread every day talking about how much he loves it.
So fucking horny.
Yeah. Or the feller who, if I'm remembering correctly, has metal teeth and is actually probably incredibly rich, who likes to say, fist on chest, no fear, a whole lot for a whole lot of reasons. These are just characters you'll run into. Fist on chest,
no fear.
Yeah, like, you just see these fucking people in the daily discussion thread on Wall Street Bets every day.
Yeah. Right?
They're just in there because it's what they're doing. Fucking Martin Shkreli, the farmer bro whom the real billionaire villains vilified for doing the same shit they do. Mm-hmm. He was a mod of Wall Street Bets, and he gave out incredibly useful trading lessons. Still a piece of shit, but we do contain multitudes.
Oh, yes. Smart piece of shit, but he got caught.
Have you...
over. I loved that article where that lady talks about how she fell in love with him.
I was going to bring that up.
Oh, my God. Insane, what an idiot.
I mean, he's a
lady. Oh, he played her like a fiddle.
That dude is deserving of a look into. He's an interesting character.
I can't wait for his biopic where he's played by Ashton Kutcher or something.
See, the thing is,
who will he be played by?
I hate shitting on him. You know why? He's a piece of shit, but I hate shitting on him because he literally pissed off the wrong people, and that's why he got for doing the same shit.
That they're all doing,
and they're all doing worse than he did too. Yeah. This will be a running theme. And, there was that feller who would place bets based on which side of the fence his dog pissed on. And that feller with the gecko named Gordon Gecko, who placed bets based on whether his gecko ate breakfast or not. Mm-hmm. And one thing that was always fascinating to me was seeing the genuine moments of solidarity in like the after hours threads or the weekend threads.
Yeah.
People with nowhere else to go asking for advice and receiving very crude and offensive, but truly genuine advice in return. Is something I've never seen anywhere else on Reddit or anywhere else on the internet. Like real vulnerability.
Oh, I have.
Where?
On Reddit, there's this one subreddit, Shrug Life Syndicate.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of real raw vulnerability and weirdness.
I feel like that's a lot of people that make a practice of being real weird and vulnerable.
Yeah, that's basically what it exists for.
Right. So
Yeah. This is more of like it's coming out within a system where it wouldn't be really expected.
Right, but because of the high emotions, because everyone's been through something together,
Yeah.
right? They've all been through something together.
Yep.
And so someone can just drop a fucking, man, I don't know what to do about all this. And someone will give real good advice. Someone with OCD posted in there once. I turned them on to Knack, right? He messaged me out of the blue some months later saying it had changed his life completely and asked if he could send me some Bitcoin or Ethereum. I said no, and that was very dumb of me.
Should have said
I
yes.
should have said yes, but
Why'd you say no?
I don't know. I didn't feel right. I was just trying to help a dude out.
Hey, he wanted to help you out too.
Yeah. Don't make me feel any stupider than I already do.
No, don't feel stupid, but next time, take the opportunity.
Oh, yeah,
if someone
for sure.
wants to help you out.
Yeah. Join our
Scratch their
Patreon.
back and you scratch it. Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, I've shilled our show in there many a time.
Yep.
So, like, if you happened upon a Nonsense Bizarre recommendation, and I know there's at least one motherfucker out there who did for sure. Yeah, that was me. Sorry. But I got your ass, though, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi.
Some of the DD or due diligence posts are the funniest shit. Like
Due diligence?
Due diligence. Someone researching a company, coming up with a play and like presenting it to the masses.
Oh, yes. The people that have their grand plan and are like, guys,
Right.
I figured it out.
Right.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
1 time out of 10, they do. And it makes everyone a lot of money.
Every now and then.
But like, there'll be like 8 pages with graphs and charts showing why this thing that is certainly going to make me a millionaire will certainly happen. Only to have like the top comment explain how they completely misunderstood like a fundamental rule of the markets and shit.
Of course.
Yeah. Some were tremendous though, and they became actual plays that people actually made a fuck ton of money off of. And whether you made a life-changing, wife-changing, or lost your kid's college fund, you were required to post the gain or loss porn for a congratulations and fuck you, or for everyone to laugh at, because at the end of the day, everyone in there is already teetering on nihilism. And that's where the funny comes from.
Yeah. Like, if you lose your life savings, you can't just curl up in a ball and, like, wail to yourself.
Right.
Go post that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, have some levity about it. Like, you need to share it.
Yep, exactly. And there'll be people in there and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I did that fucking shit too.
Yeah. Because guess what? There are a lot of other people that did that shit.
Yeah, and the thing is that the problem is that everyone who's ever gotten good at trading has gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know, like they've lost everything and then got back on the horse and did it. Some people never actually end up doing it and kind of just spiral into destruction because they can't admit that it's not for them.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's fascinating.
A lot of people fail a lot of times before they succeed.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Like there's a series of books called like Market Wizards books and stuff, and it's interviews with traders of different styles and shit, and in different, you know, here's professionals, here's amateurs in this book, you know. And it's just an interview, like get into the psychology of how every person is fucking different. It shows you there's no fucking science to it. It's just they have a thing. Yeah. A way they can tell things, a thing they do that they know they can do, and that's fine. And it's very idiosyncratic with every successful one, which is another part of the fascinating pull. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, in order to do it well, you do have to master yourself. Yep. Understand what you're good at, what you're bad at, right? And
especially what you're bad at.
Especially what you're bad at.
Yeah.
And then be willing to risk yourself, risk your quality of life, your time, essentially, on how well you've mastered yourself and what you think you know. Yep. There's something real compelling about that.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And perhaps, dear listener, you're horrified at that. Welcome to the Nonsense Bizarre. Comedy uber alles. I'm also in a particularly dark mood writing this, which is fitting. But really, you're not going to understand unless you were there. What I bet you can understand, though. I don't know if this guy's doing a bit or not. No idea whether this is real, but the fact that I'm unsure should say something. All right. Willow, will you please read this post that was on Wallstreetbets?
All right, cool. Maybe I'll get a feel. I am financially ruined. Parentheses, agricultural futures. I've lost everything. Not sure how to continue. This summer I invested $17,500, 6 months salary and my entire life savings, into ornamental gourd futures. Hoping to capitalize on this lucrative emerging industry. After watching a video about Vincent Kosuga and his monopoly on onions, I decided I'd try something similar with another vegetable. I did some research and found out many agricultural forecasters expected this year's gourd yield would be far smaller than the past, due to deteriorating soil conditions in central Mexico and a warmer than average spring. At first, demand soared around Halloween and prices skyrocketed, but the gourd bubble burst on November 12th. Unfortunately, the coronavirus caused a massive drop-off in demand due to fewer families decorating their tables for Thanksgiving. Prices plummeted. I had invested early enough that I thought I would still be fine, but then, on the morning of December 2nd, a new email in my inbox caused my stomach to turn into a pretzel. The massive gourd shipment from Argentina, scheduled for early March, had arrived. I was planning on selling off my futures right before this in February, but this ruined everything. To top it off, the gourds in the shipment were absolutely gargantuan, some topping 4 pounds each, causing the price per pound to drop like an anchor into the range of 6 cents per pound. I am ruined.
I'm about 100% sure this is a bit.
I don't think it is. It might not be.
It might not be, though. It's the fact that he implies that he got a huge shipment of gourds to his house.
He did.
But this dude was also talking about this maneuver for weeks beforehand on the forum.
He thought about this. He thought that this was brilliant. Like, he really, I can tell, this is someone that thought that they had the grand plan.
I feel like it's a bit, but I don't know. But this would be, I don't know, but like it feels real. Because this is the
when
shit. When
people think that they figured it out, they really think that and then they fuck up.
I mean, and futures are hilarious too, because like you can fuck up and just get like a ton of oil like delivered to your place of business and shit. It's so fun.
By the way, word of wisdom.
Yeah.
If you ever think you have it all figured out,
you don't.
You don't.
You fucking don't.
You just know you're wrong.
Yep.
You're in the wrong place if you're thinking that. Stop thinking that. You don't.
Yep. Now this man has after this post, the auto mod on Wallstreetbets was changed so whenever someone said they blew up their account or lost everything, the auto mod would just reply with, "Oh my gourd."
Oh, this man. He just cemented himself into Wall Street Bets like meme.
Yeah, he's a legend, a Wall Street Bets legend. Unfortunately, so many of the comments and shit don't play well on radio, especially when you're not trying to get your career ruined. There's a lot of just words that you just might as well bet on not saying.
Yep.
And a lot of the memes are visual, it being a website after all.
This is true.
You know, so that's it. I'm still going to say, you know, that one could be a bit. But
it very well could be.
But this one ain't.
Oh boy.
Let me introduce you to a man named Anal Farmer 2.
Anal Farmer 2. See, I saw this. Like, I'm looking at your script.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really glance at it too often because I like to be surprised and I like the conversation flow naturally.
A word like Anal Farmer pops out at you.
I can't ignore it.
No. Anal Farmer 2.
I love it.
This dude is a jackass and I'm pissed about all of it. Dude is a 19-year-old college student, right? His first year on Wall Street Bets included posts like, "Should I just delete Robinhood?" That year, he made a profit of $5,500. So, better than me.
Not bad.
He dips for a while, but resurfaces to become a legend. He manages to get his account funded with $100,000 with the explanation, "Online biz and margin, baby."
Ooh, okay, Anal Farmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, his ass YOLOs. That's a you only live once. YOLOs means you fucking just the last red cent you have into something stupid.
So it's like Jeopardy when you're doing like your final Jeopardy. Like, how much would you like to bet?
I mean, a YOLO is fucking get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
It either works spectacularly or you're done.
I'm going to fucking bet all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. All in on something that has an outsized chance of losing, but like, hey, if it works, I'm rich.
Yeah.
He fucking YOLOs into some company called Align Technologies. No idea what they do. I have no fucking clue. So before their earnings, he throws everything in there and somehow he lucks out. Align announced a stock buyback program. Shit went to the moon. And he now had over $350,000.
Good for him.
That's almost the beginning of the story.
It's not going somewhere pretty, is it?
Next, he decides since the market has gone up a bunch, it should probably go down. So he takes $200K and YOLOs that shit on a risky options bet against the S&P 500 with puts expiring the next day. He was going to lose his ass. Then the millennium chief at the time, Donald Trump, tweets about new tariffs on China and the market shits the bed. Anal Farmer 2 now has $700,000. Wow. There's a lot you can do with $700,000.
Wow.
Or $350,000 once the tax man gets done with you. Mm-hmm. it's a lot that is much less risky. Much, much less risky, and still fun because, a 1% gain is a lot easier to make than a 1,000% gain, right?
Yeah.
1% of $700,000 is still $7,000. Money is magnetic and it attracts to itself, which is why inflationary currency is a better option than deflationary currency. The Federal Reserve is a better choice than the gold standard, but that's a whole different conversation. I swear to fucking God, I'm not a psyop. I've thought about this a lot. I'm willing to have the discussion, but yeah, I think I'm in that camp now. So Anal Farmer 2 has $700,000, and it could be real easy for him to do some shit like pay off school, or get some passive income shit going, buy some property, or get on the sell side of option, all this shit that's way, way smarter than what he does.
Yeah, he doesn't do those things, I bet.
No, this motherfucker goes all in, betting that the market will bounce. He YOLOs again. He goes all in on calls. Now he's at the point where, that buy shows up on people's radar. That's huge. That's $700,000.
Yeah.
Now, in your day-to-day normal shit, stocks go up, stocks go down. Might be fairly reasonable. Might be time for a bounce. But when actual news like the president announcing new tariffs on China via fucking Twitter happens, it takes a couple days for things to adjust. The market is efficient and everything is priced in, except Donald Trump. That dude really is an agent of pure chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the market tanks again the next day. And Anal Farmer 2 goes from 700,000 to 100,000. Womp womp. But all's not lost, right? He can still go home with his tail between his legs and have his $100,000 account. Fuck that. Anal Farmer does something, posts that doubling down was not a good idea. We don't know what he doubled down on, and goes to $40,000. This is all in the course of 2 weeks or so. Now he's lost money. Is he done? Of course not.
No.
He goes to the last true refuge of the scoundrel, weed stocks, and makes an earnings bet on Canopy Growth. As everyone knew they would, they shit the bed. Anal Farmer 2 said, quote, "If my calls expire worthless, then they expire worth LMAO." And presumably they did, and the boy lost everything, all of it, $100,000 on margin to $700,000 to fucking zero in 3 weeks.
Sir.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be this way.
It did, though. It truly did.
For Anal Farmer 2, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
Next up, control the narrative.
This is another Reddit username.
Yes.
Yes. I like this username.
Control the narrative was your average boy, making misogynistic posts on Reddit in between debating the merits of socialism and capitalism.
Which side did he fall on?
Capitalism.
Noted.
Didn't like women either.
Noted.
When the boy gets on Robinhood, learns about options, and within weeks borrows on enormous amounts of money from Robinhood on margin. He YOLOs it, he loses, and he loses Robinhood's money too. So he's in debt for $30,000 instantly. Attaboy.
What a narrative he's made.
However, he goes on to make an even riskier bet that recoups his losses and leaves him not in debt to Robinhood. And that's when he discovers the infinite money cheat code.
Ooh, like on Sims, where you put in motherload and you just get money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The infinite money cheat code was a Robinhood glitch. Basically, you need at least $2,000 to get margin lending on Robinhood. You have to have an account worth $2,000 to get them to lend you money. And when you borrow on margin, you have to have collateral. You have to borrow against what you already have so Robinhood doesn't lose, right? Remember how I said options have a buyer and a seller?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I tried to explain selling options and shit. Yeah, don't worry about the mechanics of that. So yeah, you sell, you get the money for selling it. You'd have to buy, you get the profit immediately. You might have to buy back the option later. It's a whole fucking thing. Don't worry about it. But he sells these options that are still fucking risky, but you get the account, you get the money immediately. Now this increases your account's value. And because Robinhood is run by a bunch of coked out chimpanzees, you can then use that new higher account value to get more margin.
Okay.
Do you see what's going on there? So you sell an option to someone who's trying to you sell an option, you write the thing and shit, you get paid. Now you might have to buy that shit back.
Yeah.
Before it expires, and you have to come up with a whole bunch of fucking money because you just agreed to sell a bunch of shares that you probably don't have, right?
Okay.
So that's got to shake out somehow. But you get the profit that's not realized immediately. Now your account value is bigger. So now Robinhood will allow you to get more money on margin. Mm-hmm. So you get that margin, you sell more options, get more profit, your account's bigger, you get more margin, you sell more options, your account's bigger, you get more.
Yes.
Infinite money cheat code.
Right.
That's not supposed to happen at all.
Yeah.
It's insane. I put a picture in here. It's a comment from Control the Narrative.
Ooh. Would you like me to read it?
I would like you to read it.
With Robinhood Gold, You can use what's called margin to trade with increased buying power. So I did an instant deposit of $2,000, the minimum required to access gold trading. Then I bought 100 shares of AMD for $3,800 or so with margin. Then I sold an AMD call contract with a $2 price strike to get almost all my money back. It's important to find a stock that has call options with such low price strikes like Ford, GE, etc. Then I used that money to buy 200 shares of AMD because remember, margin doubles my buying power. Then I sell 2 call contracts with the same $2 strike price to get almost all my money back, which is then doubled again thanks to Robinhood's margin. I repeat this until I am sufficiently leveraged for my personal risk tolerance. Right now, I'm at 25 times leverage because I had $2,000 in instant deposits. I then use my increased buying power to maximize my gains. Holy fuck! Infinite money cheat code.
Infinite money cheat code. This motherfucker is playing with a $50,000 account with $2,000 because he fucking broke Robinhood. Or because Robinhood is a bunch of coked out chimpanzees, they broke themselves.
Yeah.
So
Loophole.
This dumb motherfucker made a $50,000 bet against Apple for their earnings. Only $2,000 of which was actually his. And then filmed himself at market open when he instantly went $40,000 into debt to Robinhood.
Jesus Christ.
He doesn't say much, but he makes a sound that is now synonymous with a man destroying his financial future for no good reason.
Are we about to hear the sound?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's now known as G, but that's not the actual sound.
Oh, I shouldn't have taken a sip of water right before that happened.
He's like recording his screen.
Okay, one more time, please.
Yeah. He's recording his Robinhood account screen. You see it goes from $7,000 to negative $2,000 instantly.
Fuck. I literally said right before we started recording, sometimes I feel like I'm behind in life. And then I was like, wait, I don't have any debt.
Right. Yeah, no, dude. And like, you're in debt for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you owe that to Robinhood.
Lord.
Yeah, let's hear it again.
Just the sound of a man realizing his own fuck up. Just the consequences of your own action. One more time, please.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Attaboy.
Wow.
Now, control the narrative. He lost.
He had so many opportunities to get out so good.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Well,
I mean, even so,
he wasn't the $700,000 guy.
Yeah.
Different guy.
Yeah.
Once he started, there was no getting out. You can't just take Robinhood's money and leave. He infinite moneyed up and then made one bet and fucking lost.
Like, so what was his plan? Like, what was his long-term plan? Like,
he had...
was there a way to get out and
if he won,
okay?
yeah. If he won, yeah. What his plan was that, because he was using 25 times leverage, was his, quote, personal risk tolerance, which is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. He even capitalized it in the comment.
Personal risk tolerance.
That's your personal risk tolerance, but I guess so, because he only made the Gus sound that he didn't,
Wait, no, it was much... Good. I can't do it.
It was a gulp. He was like trying to, he knew he had to do something funny and he fucked up and he just made this weird gulping sound. One of the running darkest jokes on Wallstreetbets is going long on rope. When you go long on a stock, you buy it and you're profit in the long term. So when you lose everything, you go long rope. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a suicide joke.
Oh, I get it.
I know. I know.
It's fucking dark.
Oh, yeah. There is also always like resources if you're struggling, call this, all this shit. Like they don't actually, I don't give a fuck. It's fucking funny. Yeah. We've all been through shit, Well, control the narrative paved the way for another dumb motherfucker to use the infinite money cheat code.
Yeah.
And in fact, a lot of people were using the infinite money cheat code. It was a thing. What his plan was.
Yeah.
So his plan was to make much more than the $48,000 that he borrowed from Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
He was planning to make, a couple $100,000, pay back the $48,000, and then the rest would be his profit. Because like I said, when I was talking about the bucket shops, they don't care that you have their money as long as you're profitable. That's all your profit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take anything from there. So like he could have gotten out if it had gone his way.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It probably wasn't gonna because...
Right. And there was no sure way to know that it would.
No.
Like really the whole time it's a gamble the whole way through.
It's a complete gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many reasons to not even fuck with like earnings calls and shit.
Right.
For tons of reasons.
And so what I was thinking while you're talking about this is that the type of people that do this, do you think that it's often people who know that if they fuck up, they'll be okay anyway?
No. I mean, often, yes, because that's the only people that usually end up interested in the market itself. But I think that's the thing. Because
I'm sure it does call to some people that lose it all.
Well, because lots of fucking poor people go to the goddamn casino. You know what I mean? It just so happens that so I don't think that has any bearing on it. Mm-hmm. Right. I think it's smarter to go to the stock market than the casino. But I think most of the people on here probably would be fine, but it's only because they're the type of people that would be interested in finance.
One of two ways. People who are willing to lose it all are either people that have nothing left to lose or know that they'll be okay anyway. Yeah. And those are like two opposite ends.
I mean, there is a story that I didn't put in here, but it was about this 20-something-year-old guy who was fucking homeless and didn't have anywhere to go in like California, who like just from a fucking cheap phone in McDonald's just went on Wallstreetbets and like started trading and like ended up not homeless.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
There is that side too.
On the end of the spectrum of like, well, I don't have anything left to lose. Might as well start betting.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And there's a lot of people would be pearl clutching about that. And you should be saving and shit. It's like, no, you shouldn't. Like,
and then there's other people who are like, well, I actually have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
I can afford to lose stuff. I can afford to bet and be a gambling man.
Or I actually have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
What if putting that on the line would make me feel something?
Yep. Yep.
That's a lot of it too.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, I'm only really telling stories of losses because it's funnier than victories.
But of course there are victories.
There are obviously victories. More losses though. Or at least that's the ones that get talked about. But Control the Narrative paved the way for another infinite money cowboy, Irony Man. And honestly, Irony Man's story is too complex to really get into. But basically, because of the infinite money cheat code and because Robinhood is commission free, Irony used $5,000 to open a $200,000 position that he believed was risk free. Mm-hmm. He believed that he could not lose on this. Not because the market would go in any direction, but because it was an arbitrage play. What that means, arbitrage means finding a inefficiency in how two things are priced. And if you can find a legitimate arbitrage play, it is literally risk-free. He thought that since Robinhood is commission-free, that opened an opportunity, whereas previously, because of commissions, it wouldn't be available. Another peculiarity to Robinhood is what he was banking on, right? Uh-huh. He was wrong. It could have been, right? It might have been. Maybe it should have been. He's quoted as saying, quote, "It literally cannot go tits up," which has now become another piece of slang. However, Robinhood realized what was happening and closed his positions in a way that put him $50,000 into debt with Robinhood. Yeah. They basically, you know how options have to do with calling and putting things on people? Uh-huh. Sometimes that gets exercised. Mm-hmm. And then, oh shit, you have a couple hundred shares, you better pay for it. Shit like that. Or, oh shit, you owe someone this many shares. Mm-hmm. You better fucking pay for it. There's the risk. Robinhood exercised them on him. Exercised these options. Put him $50,000 into debt with Robinhood. Now, Robinhood closed the infinite money cheat code after that and stopped allowing box spreads, which was the strategy Irony Man used. Yet, Irony Man was able to withdraw $10K before they did this. And because Robinhood is run by a bunch of coke-fueled chimpanzees, the way they closed his positions was kind of illegal, so he ended up not on the hook. The lad made $5,000 in profit by losing $200,000. Attaboy.
God. And at that point, it's like that money was so abstract and it was just in that account, like not even able to really be used or anything. Like it's almost like sure, he lost it, but what did he even really lose? He just lost like a number on a web page.
If Robinhood hadn't panicked, well, no, there is
he
shit
lost
there.
the possibility.
There is also shit there, like shares do exist. There is a maximum amount of shares for a stock. So at the end of the day, like there is a bill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone owes someone something, right? That's an actual thing. But the abstraction on the phone screen does really take that away.
Yeah.
But there is a fucking thing. If Robinhood hadn't panicked and had actually done it the right way, he probably would have been in the hole, you know?
Yeah.
Now, okay. Yeah,
It was kind of lucky for him that they didn't.
Incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. You all might be thinking, sure, this is funny. Sure, people are dumb. Sure, dumb shit happens on the internet and nihilism's funny. We all know. Why is this nonsense bizarre material? What's the point? Listen here, pipsqueak. Here's the thing. I spent the first 2 fucking years of COVID straight up obsessed with finance and trading. And the biggest thing I learned is that our entire economy is Wallstreetbets all the way down.
Yeah.
It's highly regarded all the way down.
It's like when we did the circus and we saw that was just like a representation of the macrocosm.
Uh-huh.
It was like, oh, that just reflects everything else that was going on at the grander.
Yeah. See, the thing is that, like, the people who control the markets and shit, doing all the smart fuck, I don't understand all that finance, all that stock shit. Yeah, that's on purpose that you don't understand that, right? The term, it's intentionally obfuscated. It's a country club.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be that complicated. Sure, the math of options and all that shit, yeah, it is. But these aren't fucking wizards, right? These aren't like people with some holy tome and shit. Mostly just bros.
Yeah.
Right? Mostly just people who spend all day on Wallstreetbets. So back in the early days of COVID, when I saw on the news that everything was fucked and the markets were crashing, I was like, all right, I should try to make some money on this.
Oh, the markets are crashing. I can finally afford some stocks.
My first thought was like, I've seen The Big Short, you know, which was a lot of people's first thought. I had been on there before, but I was more into crypto than stocks previously. But I'd check in on Wallstreetbets and get an old chuckle. But I was like, I should try that options thing. So I went back on old Wallstreetbets, bought me first options, puts on General Electric, turned 100 to 1,000 because the first one literally is always free. Didn't sell, zeroed out. I was hooked.
Oh, yes. Because you could have had it all.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that was fucking crazy. 5 minutes, fucking 10x. It was on one of the days of the big crash. And if you recall, all those first fucking 6 months of COVID, it was pretty eventful.
Yes.
Between plague and civil unrest and all that shit.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. And throughout all of it, the fucking daily discussion thread on goddamn Wallstreetbets was the single fastest and most reliable place for news there was. Why? Because fuck your opinions and biases when there's money on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, line goes up or line goes down, and that's just the facts.
At the end of the day, need money to survive.
Yeah, and like there's a dude who like really thought the Q thing was going to happen. And he like had a bunch of money because I think he had a business or something, and he like bet everything on this big reveal of fucking, you know, a child abuse in the tunnels under Disney and shit. So he bought a bunch of fucking puts against Disney, and you'd never fuck with the mouse. And he like bet on anything that had a Q in it and shit. And he had a date. He fucking lost everything. And people were telling him how dumb he was the entire time.
Yeah,
because
but you can't tell someone otherwise. You can't reason with that level of madness.
Yeah.
He's just going to do what he's going to do.
He's going to do what he's going to do.
He's got to learn from it.
And if you like really believed in Donald Trump and you thought his Truth Social fucking thing was going to be a big hit and shit, you're wrong. Like you lost. You got kicked in the teeth.
Yep.
And that's just the facts. You know, at the end of the day, it's highly manipulated for sure, but it's the same reason that the Wall Street Journal is rated as the most objective news source of all the newspapers and news sources.
Yeah.
Their editorials are slanted to the right, but their reporting was rated as the most neutral. Wall Street Journal, then The Economist and NPR, and I forget which of those was second and third place, but it was pretty close. When there's money on the line, everything is a fucking event, right? That's another thing. Every Trump press conference, every fucking talk by the most exciting man in the world, our actual dear leader, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. It all mattered. And it mattered what was being said and what was behind being said, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I took a screenshot of a congressional hearing that Jerome Powell gave the other day, right? And I'm going to show you my phone and ask you to just like read the YouTube chat on this. Just read out loud the chat on here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show you what they're cheering for. Don't need to read the names or anything. Just give us an excited sense of what's going on there.
Okay. 100 times long Bitcoin now. Happy holy guys, happy holy guys, happy holy guys. Sell Timming. Watching the Hawks. Buy Bitcoin now. Daddy, please don't crash the market. 0.75. Big Bear. Powell is here. Papa Powell, please helicopter cash to the American people. Rest in peace, market. PE Holdings, those guys raise your hand. Sell everything now. Sell everything now. He's pumping the market. Buy now. Beef prices gonna go up. Stock up now.
And the daily discussion thread on Wall Street Bets was, they're like commenting on this shit like it's a football game, right? Here's what it sounded like.
Previous FOMC meeting. From a broader perspective, inflation has moderated somewhat since the middle of last year, but remains well above the FOMC's longer-run objective of 2%. The 12-month change in total PCE inflation has slowed from its peak of 7% in June to 5.4% in January, as energy prices...
Most exciting thing in the fucking world.
Yeah, thrilling.
If there's money on the line, it is. But that's an interesting thing, right? When there are stakes, it makes this boring, data-driven shit
a lot more interesting.
Right.
Well, because there's things at stake now.
Yeah.
Personal stakes.
The whole economy is Wall Street Bets. And the second day I was on there, this hedge fund sleazebag named Bill Ackman, he's on CNBC. And he's talking about how serious the virus is and how everything's fucked and we need to shut everything down right now. Like, yeah, sure. Then this piece of shit starts fucking crying on air. Talking about how hell is coming and shit and all this stuff. One of the richest men in America. One of the most successful hedge fund managers. Did he grow a heart? Was he being serious?
He's scared he's going to lose money.
I don't know, but what we do know is that this dude placed a monstrous bet against the market before he did that little stunt. Then bought the bottom, netting himself a cool $2.5 billion in profit. It's billion with a B. Fucking snake.
Yeah.
It's been described as the greatest trade in all of history. Mm-hmm. Fucking snake.
Very.
Yeah.
Snake-like.
Yeah. While the market was crashing, Trump gave a press conference. It was supposed to be about, COVID, right? This fucking guy, dude. He trots out like 15 CEOs of the biggest companies to each, one by one, explain to the people why business is going to be fine. As soon as the first one started talking, the goddamn market hit bottomed. Like, the president literally pumped the fucking market with 15 CEOs.
Yeah.
It gives this sense of, I don't know, what is it? Terror? Unease. It's a type of unease.
Well, it makes you realize, like, the artificiality of it.
Yeah, of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just puts it really front and center.
And then it puts the fucking maniacs on Wall Street Bets as a little like, oh, this is the honest place. Uh-huh. Yeah. It turned into this fucking adrenaline-fueled madness where fortunes are made and lost. But like I said earlier with the bucket shops, it's literally always been like this.
Yep.
So yeah, this is from a 2009 little documentary. It's pretty interesting if you're at all interested, called Floored. It's like an hour long. But it's these floor traders in Chicago before the internet trading took off and shit, and they're on the floor with the paper and stuff. It's a pretty fucking sad documentary.
It may not go against you fast at first, so you'll take a little heat, because it'll go against you a little bit, and then all of a sudden it goes a little more and a little more, and you kind of get like it feels like a hypnotism sort of thing where you get caught in this downward spiral. You know it's a loser, you've confirmed that it's a loser, just sitting there looking at the prices go further and further against you, and it just feels almost like sometimes you can't get out.
Say you're down like $12,000. You're like, I should walk out of here. I should realize, I'm past my limit and walk out of here. What's the next thing you do? You're like, well, what the hell? Just, I'll buy a couple more. And then wham, it goes again. And the thing that goes through your head is like, all right, how much am I losing right now? There goes a car. There goes a house. It's like someone hitting you in the balls, never ending. It's like wham, wham. It's like, okay.
Nobody can get you down the amount of money that you're going to be down the day. Only you can do that. And it's funny when you see something happen to somebody else.
It's very, very public. And so those guys that saw you lose money will probably, twist that knife in your side and say, boy, they looked pretty good an hour ago, didn't they, Pete? It's a vindictive crowd. It really is.
There's a joke that we always used to say when you go on the floor, you've got the scan card, and you've got to scan your way in. Well, if you scan it and you look down and the light's red, the guy behind you is like, ooh, bad day yesterday? Or how you looking there? You're like, oh, no, it's good. You're like, come on. And it goes green. You're like, all right, yes. They're alive for another day.
There were a lot of times when the markets got very volatile that you wouldn't see a guy the next day. And you knew he lost what he could lose.
Yeah, those are they do that as a job back in 2009. Just go into the trading floor every day. Same thing. Same exact thing.
Dark.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it is on them. But there is it is like a god, right? Like it is like a current of some dark fucking magic. Like it can fucking burn your ass.
Yeah.
That's why just don't do it. I hope our audience is old enough and wise enough to know I'm not endorsing any of this. Mm-hmm. Describing it as a character flaw.
Right. That line about it's funny when it happens to someone else.
It has to be.
Grabbed me because why? It is. Other people's misfortunes, especially when they're done so
it's laughing so you're not crying shit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the ribbing is an act of mercy. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's malice. I don't think it's psychopathy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's camaraderie in this I feel like there's a way to just, they all know they're going down someday. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And that part's dark. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Floor traders, that shit gets dark. A lot of it gets dark.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And those dudes are in suits and ties. They got the bad ponytails and shit. The respectable crowd. Mm-hmm. Same shit. But you lose everything, right? All you need, though, is a little objectivity, a little self-examination, and a little luck.
Yeah.
Take the story of Masayoshi Son, head of Japan's SoftBank and Vision Fund. He is the second richest person in Japan. So this is from Wikipedia. This fucking guy, dude. He's made many investments, but the vast majority of those deals failed, and his reputation as an investor rests almost solely on his $20 million investment in Alibaba in 2000, a stake that was worth $130 billion in 2018 for his fund. He doesn't have $130 billion. He's a controversial figure. Son has been called a gambler, marked by some specialized media, and dubbed the worst investor ever. As of December 2022, Son ranks 67th on Forbes' list of the world's billionaires, despite having had for many years the distinction of being the person who had lost the most money in history.
Interesting.
It was back in the dot-com era, the dot-com bubble and shit, the dot-com crash and all that. He was making around $10 billion a week, and then lost 99% of his wealth, and $70 billion of that in one day during the dot-com crash.
That's a high unlike any other, I'm sure.
When asked about how he felt when the shit went down, he said he felt alive.
Yeah. There you go.
Attaboy. And then he built it back. He got a little loan, a little objectivity, built it back. He's a billionaire again.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had some help, but also some degenerate gambling as well. How about Bill Wang? Or Huang. Bill Huang is a now criminally charged former billionaire. This is from Bloomberg. Starting in 2013... Actually, would you like to read this?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Starting in 2013, he parlayed more than $200 million left over from his shuttered hedge fund into a mind-boggling fortune by betting on stocks. Had he folded his hand in early March and cashed in, Huang, 57, would have stood out among the world's billionaires. There are richer men and women, of course, but their money is mostly tied up in businesses, real estate, complex investments, sports teams, and artwork. Huang's $20 billion net worth was almost as liquid as a government stimulus check. And then, in 2 short days, it was gone.
Yeah, when someone says they're a billionaire, they have billions of dollars and shit, even millions.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they have that in cash. That means they have assets and shit.
Right.
They can't just start spending $20 billion.
Right.
Old Billy Boy, though, He could just
He could
run up a $20 billion fucking bar tab. It's fine. And Bill Hwang, like most fucking degenerates, he had God on his side. Quite literally in his mind. He truly thought that God was helping him gamble and he could do no wrong.
And was he right?
Well, his quote company.
Well, I guess he wasn't right.
He was right for a while. His quote company, Archegos Capital, traded in derivatives called swaps, which allowed for his ass to not be listed in public filings while betting with extreme, and I wrote extreme with a capital X, leverage. Extreme leverage. So on Friday, March 26th, when investors around the world learned that a company called Archegos had defaulted on loans used to build a staggering $100 billion portfolio, the first question they had was, who the fuck is Bill Hwang?
Naturally.
They had never heard of Archegos Capital. They had never heard of Bill Hwang. And because he was using fucking borrowed money and levering up his bets fivefold, Hwang's collapse left a trail of destruction. Banks dumped his holdings and fucking dumped stock prices. Credit Suisse Group, which is one of Hwang's lenders, lost $4.7 billion. Several top executives, including the head of investment banking, were forced out and shit. Nomura Holdings Incorporated lost $2 billion. Like,
damn, he really fucked a lot of shit up for a lot of people, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you read the next paragraph?
Hwang is anything but the larger-than-life figure one might expect at the center of a financial fiasco. There's no penthouse overlooking Manhattan Central Park, no hillside chalet at the Yellowstone Club, no private jets. I grew up in a pastor's family. We were poor, he says in a video recorded at New Jersey's Metro Community Church in 2019. I confess to you, I could not live very poorly, but I live a few notches below where I could live.
Now, Bloomberg, you say this man is not the larger-than-life figure one might expect at the center of a financial fiasco? Because the article continues.
I grew up in a pastor's family.
Willow, why don't you continue?
Okay. To anyone who asked, Hwang liked to say he divided his time evenly among three passions: his family, his business, and his charity, the Grace and Mercy Foundation. I try to invest according to the Word of God and the power of the Holy Spirit, Hwang said in a 2019 video for his foundation. In a way, it's fearless. It's a fearless way to invest. I am not afraid of death or money.
Fucking attaboy, Bill. Atta goddamn boy.
Wow.
Now, this is interesting here. Because Bloomberg, the respectable ass paper, yes, finance, yes. They don't see this as larger than life.
Uh-huh.
Right? They see him as a fucking good Christian boy. But to Wallstreetbets, they recognize this man for what he was. One of their own. Straight up.
This man's crazy.
Way too much borrowed money? Check. No sense of risk management to speak of? Check. Criminal charges? Check. Magical thinking? Check.
Yup.
This man accrued a $100 billion position in derivatives. Options, essentially, but not options, but the derivatives. Derivatives, when they're on their own, are not investing. That is straight up gambling.
Uh-huh.
They expire. That is gambling. That is gambling with $70 billion of other people's money. And they don't know you're doing it.
Bill!
And that's just some dude who's just at the church all the time and has his foundation.
God told me to do it. I don't know what to tell you, okay? It wasn't me. It was God.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, take it up with the big man.
It is straight up highly regarded gambling, thinking that Jesus will protect you and make you a big winner. And I've asked, and Jesus doesn't help the gambler.
No.
He doesn't like it. But to old Bloomberg, he's just a good Christian boy who did an oopsie. Which shows something. Wall Street can't fucking look itself in the mirror like Wallstreetbets does.
Wallstreetbets knows what it is.
Yes,
they know they're degenerates.
Yeah, there's an unsurpassed honesty to the openly scumfuck side of trading. The same way, Crowley is like the only spiritual guru you can trust. Because he tells you about the heinous gross shit. He tells you about the diarrhea and shit. You know what he is.
Yep.
Just like Crowley, the established order will vilify it. Which brings us to the showdown. Now, I'm not going to tell the whole story. It's a whole thing and it's been done to death. But at the start of the pandemic, the amount of people who subscribed to Wallstreetbets was 500,000. Big, but not that big for Reddit. As of now, there are 13 million subs. Yet the daily threads are less active now than they were 3 years ago. What's going on here? You all know why. GameStop. I was going to do a whole episode on this. I may still one day, and it's going to be called Emergent Millenary Eschatology in Financial Markets. 'Cause that's what it turned into.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, if I see that in my feed, I'm totally thinking, that's fascinating.
Yeah, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
My God, no one's coming to save you guys. Like, Jesus Christ, it's been stupid for a very long time now. But the long and short of it is, there's an already failing company, a retail store that sells video games. In a time when video games are going all digital download, right? Then a pandemic hits that fucks up retail business something ferocious. Betting against GameStop's the easiest move in the history of the world. It's so smart, it's stupid. Short selling is when you borrow shares to sell, with the promise and expectation you will return those shares someday. Hopefully by buying them at a lower price than what you sold. That's where the profit is. Now, there are only so many shares available for a company, but hey, it's not paper shares anymore. And come on. Everybody knows that GameStop's going to go bankrupt. So and this is the big boys talking amongst themselves now. We can just short sell shares that don't exist, right? Just a little bit. Just a couple. We can just sell a couple. Yeah. Oh shit, we're making bank. Let's keep going. And they did. They shorted a whole fuck ton of shares that don't exist. The primary villain was Melvin Capital, owned by a company called Citadel, which also coincidentally had a big old stake in Robinhood. And there was a feller who went by the name of Deep Fucking Value, aka the Roaring Kitty on YouTube, and Keith Gill when his ass had to testify to Congress because how dare he get paid off the big boys' fuck-ups. Old Deep Fucking Value realized these shenanigans and he started buying a fuck ton of super long-dated GameStop calls and shares. And he held, and the few people who believed in the short squeeze, when the people with short positions have to scramble to get those shares back, and it causes them to outbid each other. The theory behind the eschatology is that if we hold all the shares and they shorted shares that don't exist, it should be an infinite money cheat code.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't ever going to work like that. Because, and the people who weren't in on that made fun of these people because it seemed like a real pie in the sky, fucking corkboard ass way of making a trade. This is infinite money cheat codes don't work out well. But then a bunch of shit happened that doesn't matter for our purposes, and all of a sudden, GameStop might have a future. And then it happened. The shit hit the fan. Wallstreetbets got shut the fuck down from Reddit. It was this whole fucking thing. The great Wallstreetbets Discord diaspora happened. All of a sudden, the whole fucking world knew about the scumbags in Wallstreetbets.
Yep.
And everyone was going to get rich. And everyone who sold early did. Robinhood, being in the pockets of the big boys, started restricting buying of GameStop. Other brokerages did there too. It was a whole thing. I'm not going into it. You all remember. But it became a, quote, movement outside of Wallstreetbets. And all these fucking people bought up GameStop and flooded Wallstreetbets, thinking they were striking back at hedge funds for the little guys. And yes, some hedge funds got hurt, but more of them made more than retail ever did. All while CNBC and Bloomberg is blaming all the coming financial problems on the stupid poors who don't know how to play their game. Right? But also, fuck all that. You had people going into Wallstreetbets scared of options, worried about being 20% down, trying to tell these people not to ruin their lives when they posted about a stupid fucking play. Get the fuck out of here. You have no reason, you have no idea why we're all actually here.
Yeah.
You don't understand what this is. See, here's the reason people ended up at Wallstreetbets before the pandemic. And it's the same reason people ended up at the hedge funds and on the trading floors and shit. The heroes and villains are never that different. The reason for all the gambling, the maximum risk, the reckless abandon is simple. We hate ourselves. But at least we're kind of honest about it.
Yeah.
And I'll bet dollars to donuts that the manager of your retirement fund spends half his day shit posting on Wallstreetbets. So yeah, we're fucked. But isn't it kind of nice to know for sure?
Beautiful. Yeah. Do you want to know what this makes me think of?
What does it make you think of?
So I was a big Neopets player.
Yeah.
And Neopets, at one point, I think they still do, but it stopped in 2001. They still have their own functional economy, but at one point they had their own NeoDAC. The NeoDAC.
Yeah.
And then the Neopets stock market. And it was a fully functional stock market.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been used to test trading apps and shit. And
yeah. Neopets, just as a coding thing, the relationship between the users and the developers was very interesting because the users kept figuring out ways to sort of cheat the systems, to figure out how to double money, how to infinite cheat code, how to fuck shit up. And then the developers would be like, okay, this is a new challenge for us. We need to figure out how to stop this from happening. But basically users on Neopets figured out how to game the stock market in their guilds, because they had guilds on Neopets where you could be part of these like, you know, little groups and talk within your group. And these people were they were gaming the system.
Yeah.
They were figuring out how to influence the NeoDAC, the stock market. And eventually, like, the developers had to shut that shit down and just decide to randomize it.
No,
you know?
shit. Yeah.
They were like, we can't have this. But I just want people to know, because for some reason, and this has to do with capitalism, I'm sure, I feel prideful about the fact that I have a Neopets account sitting somewhere that has 8 million Neo points in it.
That's nothing to do with capitalism. It has to do with the fact that points are fun.
Points are fun.
Yeah.
I collected a lot of those, but you can collect interest. I was very like, it's interesting how I used Neopets basically like to learn how to collect money and manage money responsibly.
Don't go on Wallstreetbets.
No, but like, isn't that so interesting how Neopets could be used in that way? But what else is interesting? Neopets has gambling.
Yeah.
You can bet on races. You
Yeah.
can do lotteries. You can do all sorts of shit. You can go to the wishing well. You can spend your Neo points on all sorts of dumb shit. You can also set up a shop and sell things.
Yeah.
Like, you can use Neopets in so many different ways, but what it really is an economy.
Yeah.
Which is so fascinating.
Yeah.
That like a bunch of kids are primed to, and you can use HTML to like code your profile. It was really like a functional playground of useful real world skills in a way.
I mean, we're running along, but I wanted, how well this does tie into the three of discs. So when I compare finance and shit to magic and the occult and stuff like that, it's everyone knows like the high.
I just want to throw this in there. Neopets made by Scientologists.
Holy shit. It's like, I don't know. The market and money and shit is an organic thing. It's an emergent thing, right? It wasn't crafted and handed down. Mm-hmm. It's an emergent thing. The thing, a lot of, I'll say, currency, finance and shit. I mean, don't necessarily want to just limit it to capitalism, because it could refer to mercantilism or socialism, all this shit. Maybe what you colloquially think of as capitalism. But that's emergent. Currency is emergent of human culture. It's a way to abstract value, work, time, right? Collaboration. If you're in a barter economy, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be fucking, you're never going to get paid to be a musician. You know what I mean? You have to abstract things in order to make more complex things viable ways to spend your time.
Yep.
Right? And money is a way to do that. So is symbols. Right? These are, when you're working with like correspondences in a magical operation and shit, you're working with emergent compression techniques, ways to compress ideas, to simplify things, to use something to represent something else, right?
Yeah.
Money's the exact same way. Financial derivatives, stocks, derivatives on stocks, right? It's all emergent. And then the rules and shit are set up to try to contain this emergent thing. Mm-hmm. And that's fucking fascinating to me. It feels like a wild animal that you're trying to
It literally
control.
is. That's exactly what that is. Also, just what the law in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the money is the root of all evil, right? Is that saying? No, that's a saying invented by people doing the actual evil.
Yes.
Money is just a force of human existence, a force of human nature. It's abstraction. Mm-hmm. The whole system, the whole god of the market is this three of discs ass collaborative effort.
Yep.
Between all these minds, all these people. The Wallstreetbets and Wall Street were never competing against each other in the GameStop thing, because they are each other. It was never the little guys versus the big. Really, at the end of the day, it was just some fucking shit that happened. This emergent fucking madness, and the people close to it, like getting burned by this nuclear reactor that all this energy is getting fucking fed into and shit. It's fucking wild.
Yep.
And it is this, on the three of discs in the Thoth deck, you've got, three suns on the points of a pyramid, and you're looking down on it, right? Uh-huh. Those suns, like, to me, are like a human soul. And when you get multiple human souls in a pyramid, it fucking creates a gestalt. And the market is another gestalt of humanity.
Yeah.
Right? And it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Loved it.
It's late.
It is. My cat's meowing and meowing.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Yeah, no, I needed just a week to bullshit. So that's what you got.
Yep. Well, folks.
Yeah.
If you like what we do,
please find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Please do give us a 5-star rating. That would be very excellent on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you use. We would love that.
We would. And if you want to support the show and give back, join us on Patreon. $5 a month to get access to bonus episodes and our patron exclusive Discord. And it's a lot of fun. And you should do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys. Take
Bye.
care.